You got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you.
You can't talk to me like this anymore. You can't talk about me like this anymore. And people said, oh, you're woke. We have never been asleep. No one's ever let us sleep because we've had to keep, I'm sorry, baby, because we've had to keep reminding people that women don't want to be spoken down to. Gay folks don't want to be spoken down to. Straight folks don't want to be spoken to. People don't want to be spoken down to. They don't want to be made fun of. Get a better gig.
Joe Rogan absolutely exposed and destroyed The View on his show, The Joe Rogan Experience, where he showed Whoopi Goldberg, Joy Behar, and the rest of the cast absolutely loving having Donald Trump on as a guest a few years ago, probably, I don't know, 10 plus or so years ago. In that clip that Joe Rogan showed, it was Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar. They were hugging, they were kissing Donald Trump, they were introducing him as this great person, asking him if he would run for president, like basically asking him to run for president. And The View absolutely lost their minds on their show today, reacting to this Joe Rogan clip. Let's get into this clip here from The View of them reacting to Joe Rogan, exposing them. I can't believe this universe that we're living in where it's Joe Rogan beefing with The View and The View's reacting to Joe Rogan on their show. It's crazy. Anyway, it's great content. Let's get into this clip here from The View of them reacting and melting down about Joe Rogan absolutely destroying them.
So you know who made a campaign stop on the Joe Rogan podcast Friday night. And with all the issues Americans are going to be voting on, you know where they started the interview? Take a look.
It was the episode of you when you were on The View. And I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president.
Right.
Okay, let's stop there. There's a lot of fake news coming up, so we're going to clear some of it up as it happens. He was actually, in that clip, is 2011, 4 years before he announced he was running. Okay? That's the first thing they got wrong. Next.
Well, I don't know why that matters. I mean, he's still the same person that he was back then. But also, can somebody tell me who this person is really quick? Maybe I'm dumb. This lady looks exactly like a younger Joy Behar a little bit, but I'm pretty sure this is Joy Behar. So who the hell is this? Does Joy Behar have a sister or something? Please in the comments, let me know who this is.
He was running. Okay? That's the first thing they got wrong. Next.
You got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you.
So here's the actual appearance. Watch.
Donald Trump is a billionaire, a real estate mogul, and a television star. But does he really want to add president of the United States to his resume? A lot of people would like him to. Please let's find out, and please welcome my friend, Donald Trump.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
We're so happy to have you. Whenever you're on with us, we're very happy.
Well, we love it.
But did I look warm and fuzzy?
That's how you always look. You always look like that. So I don't think that she was angry about Donald Trump being on the show. If that was the case, and you were hating Donald Trump back then, and you hate Donald Trump now, why not bring Donald Trump on your show currently? Why doesn't Whoopi Goldberg bring Donald Trump on The View and tell him why he's so wrong on all of these issues? If they hated Donald Trump back then just as much as they hate him now, why not just bring him on your show? And I'm sure he would love to do it. I'm sure he would definitely take the opportunity, and you guys could just absolutely destroy him on all of his misinformation that you always talk about. I'm sure he would do it. Donald Trump would love that, dude. That would be the best PR Donald Trump could possibly get, of him going destroy all these woke idiots. That'd be awesome. But it's not the case, because back then, Whoopi Goldberg and Joy Behar and these people, they didn't hate Donald Trump. And the only reason why they hate Donald Trump currently is because of the misinformation that they've heard about him. He's the same guy that he was back then. he's a very left-leaning Republican. And I know people would disagree with that, but Donald Trump has like disavowed or said multiple times that he's not trying to push forward for an abortion ban. Someone like J.D. Vance would probably push for a complete nationwide abortion ban. And that's just one example. I'm not going to go through all the examples. I do it all the time. But Donald Trump is one of the more left-leaning Republican candidates. And they're more friendly with other Republican candidates that are more right-leaning than they are with Donald Trump. And he is the same person that he was back then now. And he even says that in this clip. He says multiple things like, a lot of my policies, if I ran for president, they wouldn't be popular with a lot of the country. And it's the same. I mean, he's the same guy.
I respect Barbara. You know, she said be polite to guests no matter what.
Yes.
And for the most part, I got through. I did it like I do now. But here's where they really messed up. Watch.
They're talking about you in such a favorable light.
Honey, Joe, I think you missed this part. Take a look.
I want him to show his birth certificate. There's something on that birth certificate that he doesn't like.
Oh my God.
that's a terrible
that is
thing to
just
say.
the
Whoopi, I'm
worst
telling
thing. He
you.
was 3 pounds and
Whoopi, I love you. I'm
Donald,
telling
I love
you.
you too. I think that's the biggest pile of dog mess I've heard in ages.
The question is,
Why not show it, right?
there's something on his birth certificate he doesn't want to show.
It's not because he's black.
Let
The time
him
you
show
were born,
has
what
nothing
color
to do
you
with that.
are.
By the way,
Because I've
has
never heard
nothing
any
to do
white
with
president asked to be shown the birth
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
certificate. When you become a president of the United States of America,
Okay, listen.
you
Whoopi,
know that he's
let him
American.
show
I'm
his
sorry,
birth
that's
certificate.
BS.
Look, this show has allowed all kinds of people to come on. People we agree with, people we don't agree with. I've not been a fan of this man's. I don't like how he talks to us. I don't like how he talks to the nation. So I have not really had much to say until he started running for president. Then I could say everything I needed to say. My face said everything
That
else.
was a good side eye.
Didn't
My
you say
face.
you disliked him from even before that when you first had an encounter with him?
Well, yeah, he's been in New York
Yes.
forever. He's a New York person and been a New York character.
He wasn't the president back then, and you're saying that you already hated him back then. So I don't get it. There's some kind of disconnect here because you hated him back then. Apparently, allegedly, I don't believe it. I think that's just Whoopi's face. It just looks like that. But Donald Trump is not just a New York character. I don't even know what that means. He's the New York legend. He's just a legend in general. He was in all kind of rap music videos. He was a massive name in pop culture and hip hop culture and black culture and white culture. He's just a massive name. He always was. So I don't think, I mean, like I said, if they hate him just as much back then as they do now, bring him on the show now. If it's the same emotions, I don't get it. Why not just bring him on the show? And if you guys have as much evidence of him spreading misinformation and lies as you say, you could just absolutely tear him apart. They would never do it though, because they know they would get destroyed. It would be the best piece of PR Donald Trump could possibly get. I just don't buy this at all. Let me know in the comments if you guys buy it. I don't buy it, the fact that Whoopi Goldberg didn't like Trump back then. I don't at all. I think her face is just like that.
And what they did for years, which is why people got up and said, you can't talk to me like this anymore. You can't talk about me like this anymore. And people said, oh, you're woke. We have never been asleep. No one's ever let us sleep because we've had to keep, I'm sorry, baby, because we've had to keep reminding people that women don't want to be spoken down to. Gay folks don't want to be spoken down to. Straight folks don't want to be spoken to. People don't want to be spoken down to. They don't want to be made fun of. Get a better gig.
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
If you're a comic, be funnier. Find a different way than to come after people because of their heritage, which they are born into. It is not a choice. You are who you are.
Right.
And here you're going to make all kind of fun. People said no more. We're tired of that. That's why people are saying, right there, you heard the women say, listen, what we heard at that rally should be enough to shake folks awake, because he's talking about you. All of you. All of you. He's talking about you.
He's not going to do any of that, by the way. I mean, he might say that he's going to do some of these things, in hyperbole sometimes. I mean, if you're illegal, you should get deported. And I don't know what the problem with that is. I don't know why that's a bad thing. But to say that he's going to like deport all Mexicans, like, come on, dude. Like that's just ridiculous. And talk about misinformation. All that's coming out of Whoopi's mouth right now is just it's a bunch of nonsense. Like that was supposed to be her big moment. It's like, you sound like an idiot. I would just love for Whoopi Goldberg and The View to give some examples, play some clips of Donald Trump talking down to black people, talking down to gay people, talking down to trans people, like they're listing, like Whoopi Goldberg is listing off here. When does Donald Trump do that? When does Joe Rogan do that? Donald Trump actually talks down to the people of America a whole lot less than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz do. I mean, a whole lot less. Donald Trump he's been actually very accepting, very inclusive, especially in this 2024 run. Way more inclusive than he was back in 2016 or 2020. It seems like that's a massive point for him. So I would just like for them to give one example. After he decided to run for president, not before. Because that's what we're talking about, right? We're talking about after he ran for president. Anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Joe Rogan versus The View situation. I thought it was absolutely hilarious how much it set Whoopi Goldberg off and the rest of the cast. Let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking. Do you think they actually hated Donald Trump back then? Or do you think they just hated on Donald Trump once it became cool and profitable to hate on Trump? Because I definitely think it's the latter. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this whole Joe Rogan versus The View situation.